Hey, what's up? It's Doug Cunnington here. Today is the live Q&A, the Friday Q&A. I think we have a handful of people in the crowd, the audience already. Let me pop open the chat. Everyone say hello. And let me know if you could hear me. I always need to check that because sometimes you cannot hear me. I think you can now. I see the little green bar moving up and down. And that, of course, is a good sign. So welcome, everyone. Let me know where you're from. Everyone say hello. Everyone be cool in the chat. And I see we have Amir, we have Marcus, Ravi, Arif, what's up? I've been seeing your comments, Arif. I really appreciate that and all the support. We have Matthew, Ravi, and Alex. People can hear me, and that's fantastic. I'll do like the normal little announcements, which I do. There are a few cool things going on. Let me also turn off some stuff here. Okay, few cool things going on. I am doing a presentation next Monday, a free training with SEMrush, which is pretty cool. I've been using SEMrush as a tool for many years, and I remember like reading stuff on their blog. And a couple weeks ago, they contacted me and asked if I do a presentation for them, and I said, yeah, that'd be awesome. So it's a free presentation. There's a I don't remember if I put a link in the description, but there's another video out there, and I'll probably paste the link here shortly in the chat. But basically, it's a free training. You could sign up. It's going to be on Monday. There's going to be a replay. It's going to be on their channel whenever it comes out. But you could just check it out. And for me, it's pretty cool. Like I said, to be invited to go make a presentation with them. We have O2. We got Arif, my man Gaz, Asim, and some other folks. So hopefully you'll have a chance to watch the short little video, the promo video that I actually say, hey, there's free training on SEMrush, blah, blah, blah. So go check that out. And there's a link in the description for that video. Further, if you just want to do some reading, there's a frequently asked questions link in the description. And I find oftentimes people will ask a frequently asked question in a session just like this, and I'll give sort of a shorter answer and then tell you to read more later. All right. So read more later. So that is cool. And then we have the productivity course. I usually don't push this too hard, but if you're looking to get a lot of stuff done in the new year, I know a lot of people are, maybe you haven't switched over to that mode yet, but check out the productivity course. It's cheaper than my other course, and generally it will help you set goals, help you set up some systems so you can get things done and really focus. Further niche type process, I'll point people towards that too. A lot of details are in that. Please check out, and I'll talk about this a couple times, the Survive the 9 to 5 podcast. So my wife and I have been doing a few episodes there. We actually have about I think like 10 plus episodes out. We're going to go on a little hiatus for the rest of the year here, but there are about 10 episodes, and I'll probably do just some more talking about that to get people out there. So I didn't want to promote it too much as we were getting started. It's a new thing, right? Like whenever you start something new, it's a little rough around the edges and that sort of thing. But I think we've gotten a little bit better. We're a little more confident on the microphone and that sort of thing. All right. We have Tammy from West Virginia, and Arif is mentioning SEMrush. You're excited about it. Very cool. We have Taz, and Asim Ahmad is on as well. So I went through. All right. So quick note for everybody. I went through the I've been telling people to ask questions on videos, and you have listened, and I thank you for it. So if you're watching this video now, and if you have questions later, right? If you have questions later, you can leave a comment like wherever, and I'll try to go and find it. And I did that yesterday afternoon as I was preparing for this session today. By the way, give a thumbs up if you have the opportunity to. And the thing that's cool is there's like 20 questions or so that I put in the description. It's interesting, right? When I see the same question multiple times across different videos from different people, I know that is a frequently asked question. And I mean, sometimes I've already added it to the section. on my site, but do check out some of the questions in the description. I'm going to start going through them, and you could ask them in the chat for all the live people that are joining me here. And I think we may have a pretty decent crowd today because we already have what looks to be 31 people or so here. And we're only 7 minutes in. It usually takes a little while for the notifications to go out. So maybe that's a good sign, or maybe it's a bad one. I have no idea. All right. Asim is asking what the session is about today. So usually I have a number of questions like I mentioned in the description. So I'll talk about those, and that'll sort of get people's juices flowing here. And then after that, I just start thinking of stuff and talking about whatever I want. Sometimes it is not related, but usually it is. Okay. So Teeth Health asks, this was a question that was asked in the comment. So what happens when you do allintitle search and it doesn't show any results? Do you still write an article for it? So I get this question a lot. So it's like when allintitle, this is directly around the keyword golden ratio. So if you're not familiar with the keyword golden ratio or KGR, then you should have a look at the Masterclass playlist, and then you'll have an understanding about what we're talking about here. But basically, the keyword golden ratio is the allintitle number of results divided by the local monthly search volume. Usually that's going to be in the US, and then you get some value. So when you get allintitle is equal to 0, that's less than 0.25, and that's the ratio you're looking for. So like I said, it baffles me because I don't understand why people ask the question. However, that is my own issue, right? Because I get that question all the time, but I just don't understand. Like the formula is super clear, like less than 0.25, 0 is less than 0.25. Like that is okay. Now, when you're talking about a local monthly search volume of 0, well, that's different. You're dividing by 0, and there's a whole other set of things you have to think of there. But anyway, Teeth Health, if you get an allintitle and it's 0, that's a good keyword. Go for it. All right. And feel free to ask questions in the chat. And I'll give a shout out to my man, Gaz, talking about what he calls trigger words. So a couple weeks ago, maybe last week, Gaz was like, hey, I use what's called trigger words. He made up the term himself. He said I could use it. So I'm using trigger words, but shout out to Gaz, who's in the chat, very active out there, and appreciate that. So Gaz says he uses trigger words, and he pasted it like in the comment section of a video from a couple weeks ago. So just check that out and you'll see a big list. And he shot me an email and he was like, hey, like maybe we can figure out how to get this information out. And I paused, right? I always pause for everything, apparently. But I asked guys, I was like, hey, what results have you gotten? And these were extensive. There were way more words than I thought. And he doesn't have any results yet. So I'm pausing because basically when I got started, there were a lot of people who, well, one, they were just like full of it, right? They didn't have any real results to show, but they were talking about stuff that they heard elsewhere, like second and third hand, and like telling people to do stuff. And then you would do it and maybe either it wouldn't work. And they sound so convincing, right? Like they're selling something. So anyway, I usually don't share or do much without like having results to say, at least we tried this one time and it worked really well. And even then, you know, I'm hesitant. I'm like, oh, this needs to be repeatable. So that's why I'm slow, right? I published a blog post on the EAT, the medic update from Google, which came out in like August of this year, right? So I'm like about 4 months behind, but people that published something that week, they like basically didn't have any data to go off of. So I pause and wait. Anyway, so guys, it like gave a bunch of like cool keywords, prefixes he calls trigger words to do more searches. but I'm pausing because I don't know if the results are awesome yet. They might be, but we're just waiting. All right. Gaz says, you've spoken about it, but what's the deal with Google coming up with related searches that when you test them, come up with 0 searches? Surely people are typing it in. Yeah. So basically, people are searching for it. Google is literally telling you that people are searching for it and they're auto-suggested. As far as 0 search volume is an estimate. Any tool that you use is estimating with whatever algorithm they use. So I recommend you just like pick a tool and use it, and then you have a relative sense of the search volume. Even if you get the search volume from Google itself, that is also an estimate. All right, so that's also an estimate there. And I think, okay, Tammy wrote something and it didn't, okay, cool. I think we're good to go. So anyway, yeah, guys, basically, if it's a search volume of 0, I would write something if it's an auto-suggest, a related search, or you just know it's a good piece of content. All right, Echoes on, our successful high school student who says this online business can be emotional. 1 week traffic is up in earnings, and then the next week it's a drop or just stagnant. Yep, that is business. That's just business. I'm drinking some chai tea today. I have coffee in the morning, and for a stretch, like if you watch some of my older videos, I probably said something like I drink coffee like a monster, which I did, and I would drink like, I don't know, like a quart or a liter for our metric folks. I would just drink like a lot all day long. And generally it was fine. Only when I hit like some critical mass would I get like, too like amped up or something like that. But generally it's fine. Nowadays I'm drinking like a cup and a half of coffee. Then I'll switch over to tea and stuff. I busted out the espresso maker recently just to have, a little pick me up in the afternoons occasionally, but I've cut down my coffee drinking and trying to drink more tea. All right. And cool. This is great. So Bruce Marin in the chat says, I'm ranking on page 1 of Yahoo and Bing and others, but not on Google. At the moment, they're all KGR. Will Google catch up, or am I doing something wrong? Which is really cool because there is another question that was sent in. Let me give this guy a shout out here. Where the heck is it? Alex HG says, I'm ranking high on Bing, but not on Google. Do I have any ideas why this might be? Okay, so Bruce had the same question as Alex here. So basically, Alex's question is like, why am I ranking on Bing and not on Google? Yours is a little different, Bruce. So basically, knowing that you're ranking on Bing, this is directed to Alex, knowing that you're ranking on Bing doesn't really tell us anything about why or why not you're ranking in Google. They are obviously independent and they generally have nothing to do with each other. So if you're ranking on Bing or Yahoo, that's really cool, but it doesn't tell you why you're not ranking in Google. However, you can look at the normal suspects, right? Content, quality, that could go to grammar. It can go to the quality of your keyword research. It can go to the competition that you're dealing with. And then further, links, right? So links may be more important on the Google side. They may be more sophisticated in the way that they're checking or not, right? It is unclear. So I basically ignore Yahoo and Bing 100%. I literally don't care. Maybe can give you some more insight, and maybe some people, like if they just focus on those areas, they could do really well. But I think it's like, I don't remember, this could be off by a significant amount, but I think it's like 70% of the search traffic is on Google. It may be closer to like 90 or something like that, but I think it may be like 70, something like that. So anyway, Bruce's question is around whether Google will catch up or are you doing something wrong? So the root of the answer is the same as what I was telling Alex, even though you guys are coming at it from different directions. So are you doing something wrong? The answer is maybe, but just because you're ranking on Bing and Google, or sorry, Bing and Yahoo, it doesn't tell me anything. So you have to look at, are you keyword stuffing? Is the content good? Do you have too many affiliate links? I've been doing just one-on-one audits with people. By the way, I do one-on-one audits and coaching. So generally, if we're going through, so Bruce, you ask a fine question here. I basically can't give you a very helpful answer in this scenario. I can tell you stuff to look at, but like last night, actually, I met with someone from Australia, wanted me to take a look at their site. It had been doing pretty well for like a year or so, and then things were starting to drop off. I took a quick look at his site. I do some homework ahead of time. I investigate the on page. I look at the just the site overall. So I go through and audit it. I take a look at the backlinks. I see what the site is ranking for. I see the backlinks on like Ahrefs, and just get like a full picture of what's going on. And usually I can say, hey, it looks like you're keyword stuffing on a couple of these posts. It looks like you maybe have too many affiliate links. Your tables look like crap. You need to fix those or get rid of them, like do something. And the point is, with an audit, I can record it. We can go back and forth, ask questions. You could actually get real answers. So I need to sort of develop that offering better and mention it more often. Because a lot of times, if I go and make some recommendations and then you automatically like move up in the rankings and start getting more traffic or conversions or whatever, then it pays off like immediately. And then when you look at like the website volume, right? In fact, again, I need to just like tell people that I offer this and show you the testimonials. So there was a person who I audited their site in like September. They spent 6 weeks making a few changes that I recommended on about 20% of the articles. And basically you get an action plan out of it. So I tell you where to focus. I tell you how I would prioritize it. And then you go and execute the work. I don't do the work for you or anything like that, but I tell you what you need to work on. Anyway, they were able to like make the changes. The revenue went from like, I don't remember, like $5 a month to like $90 a month or so. So if you look at like just the straight up cost of the session, which is $247, they paid for that already. And then if you look at the value of the site, it's like, 10x the value of, what they're investing, which is the right way to charge, really. So anyway, that is the answer to that question. I think Bruce said, maybe you need an audit. Let's talk. Cool. Shoot me an email, or you can go to nichesiteproject.com/hire me, and you can send me some information. All right. Next. Cool. We got some good questions going on. Nico says, would I advise switching to Gutenberg, or is it better to wait it out? I would say wait it out. It didn't work that well for me, but you can upgrade to, I think at this point they have 5.0.1. It fixed the security issue apparently, and then install like the classic editor, and that generally will keep things from breaking. Gutenberg was giving me some issues with my particular theme. Okay, Asim says, choosing products, what pricing is best? For example, if you're writing about smartwatches, what products should I select in their price, or what works best? And Steve mentions thumbs up people, so appreciate that. That'll be great. We have 12 now, so we'll slowly grow that. If I answer your question, that is a good prompt to just give the thumbs up. So there's no like best pricing. But I'll give you some guidelines. So around $100 plus or minus like 25, something like that. It's really good to have a range of prices. That's ideal. What I wouldn't do is focus all on like cheap products, right? So obviously, most people are not going to want to do that. So don't focus on cheap products. That's not going to pay off. All right. Um, but if you have a wide range of products, I go for even low price stuff. Now, the other thing that I recommend isn't to not target really high price products, because your conversion rate is just going to be like lower in general because people don't buy expensive stuff as often. The buying cycle time is longer. So about $100, awesome. And Tammy reminds us that I did a video on Gutenberg, so that was a quick one. There's a couple cool features with Gutenberg, but I think for now, probably pause and wait unless you have just like a straight up like simple theme without that many features. Probably if you're using like one of the WordPress themes or something by Automatic, I suspect those are going to work a little bit better than other themes with like a lot of features and like custom fields and all that. So Ravi says, what's up? Gaz says, trigger words are used to find long tail keywords to meet the KGR. Cool. Oh yeah, and everyone, just a quick reminder: if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel. I must never say this, and you can click the bell for notifications. All right, and that way you'll hopefully know whenever I go live or when I publish a video, you'll get a little notification. So that's good. Also, if you like the videos and or comment on them frequently, I think that's a good thing too. In fact, I would really appreciate it if you do comment on as many of my videos as you can. I think that is one of the big reasons. I mean, my channel is growing much slower than other people that I see, and I think I do more like live streams like this, but it's like very few people like leave a comment. A lot of people are on their phone, All right. Robbie says, how do you choose products for the affiliate store? So I don't like affiliate stores in general, but I would say find highly rated, like 4 or 5 stars in certain price ranges that you're looking for. And don't add too many. Most of the time when I hear people talking about the affiliate stores, you end up with too many products. People are like, yeah, I have like 800 products on there and their site runs slow. It's like duplicate content and it's just garbage. So don't do that either. All right. Robbie also says sometimes keywords are not in proper order shown by Google. So what should we do? Use proper grammar. That's what you should do. All right. Your guitar guide says Merry Christmas. Thanks. Appreciate that. Furhan is on, one of our kind moderators. Thanks for the help there. Amir says, if you find 20 keywords with 200 searches, is it fine to create a blog on that? Keywords are related to the KGR formula. Sure, you can do that. Uber says, at what point do you start targeting keywords over 250? As soon as possible. I would say I would do that quickly, because it'll take time to rank those. But you have to understand like what you're doing, Uber driver, in the whole grand scheme of things. So I would say, start right away. You want a blend of stuff generally. All right. Alltube says hi. Okay. Ubad says, is content also important for ranking? Yes, it's very important. It's one of the top 3 things as described by Google. Backlinks and rank brain are also important. Those are the other 2 things. Arif says, what's my review about Uber Suggest? It's very good. It's a great way to come up with some ideas. And I revisited Uber Suggest in the last couple days, and it looked like there were a lot more features in there. I know Neil Patel, who owns Uber Suggest now, was talking about like just providing more features for free generally. So I think some of those features are rolling out, and obviously all that stuff is pretty expensive to implement. to keep running. It's resource intensive and all that stuff. So I should probably do a little bit of investigating and checking out Ubersuggest. Alltube asks about what theme you should use for an affiliate site. You could use any theme you want. It seriously doesn't really matter. However, if you want a better answer than that, you can go to the FAQ section. There's a link in the description, and there's a question. Hey, what theme should I use? And then I tell you a few recommendations, but generally it seriously doesn't matter. All right. Nikos has a cool question here. You have 20 articles based on the keyword golden ratio, and they're ready to publish. Would you publish them all at once or better to drip them out? I would publish them all at once. It literally doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Okay, Rosie says you tried Ahrefs and they're so wrong with the numbers. After an hour, you asked to cancel. Okay. So here's the thing with the keyword research tools. They all use different algorithms. And if I remember right, Ahrefs uses like a longer, I think it may be like a 30-month average or something like that. So it really smooths out the averages. Now, the value at Ahrefs is not really with the keyword search volumes. It's with the backlink database and the organic search terms that you're ranking for. So that is the real value. I mean, you could literally use free tools to get the local monthly searches. So Ahrefs is really valuable for other areas, not really the search volumes. Alltube asks a philosophical question here. How to select a profitable and perfect niche? It's so difficult. Why? Because nothing's perfect, and you want it profitable and perfect, and you're looking for something that doesn't exist. So you just have to pick something and then do that. And now we have quite a few people on, which is great. Would really appreciate a thumbs up. We really I feel like we do bad. We do bad on the likes. You know what? I'm just going to ignore it. I don't really give a shit. Okay. Candy Talk says, does your comment still have to get approved by the admin before going live? So this is around blog commenting. The answer is generally yes, unless for some reason, like you don't need to do it. Sometimes it's like auto approved, but generally it needs to be approved. Karim asks, how long does relationship building take? I have no time frame to measure if I'm doing it right. So this is also around like doing blog commenting and then asking for guest posts and stuff like that. And he's asking, how long does it take to build a relationship? So you're looking at it the wrong way, Karim. That's like asking, how long should you date before you get married? You're trying to like treat a relationship building process as like a formula. So you're probably trying to rush it. That's the answer. But if you force me, I would say like 2 weeks to 2 months. A lot of times it really depends on the interactions that you're having. Okay. Let's see. Echo says, why try building a digital marketing agency? No, that sounds awful to me. Okay, Ubad says, kindly announce a Christmas gift for all your YouTube fans, something mind-blowing. How about this? I'm sitting with you right now answering your questions. How's that? Merry Christmas. Arif says, Ubersuggest is killing other tools. It's free. Use keywords everywhere in Ubersuggest. Yeah, I mean, I think making that stuff free is really interesting. I think, again, for some of the more like really more intensive like processor stuff, like backlink databases, like that is, I think that probably won't be free because that will be It's just too expensive to do that, I think. Hiking Gear Lab says how you have hired coworkers in brief. I don't have coworkers, but maybe you're asking something different. Do you want to rephrase that? Okay. Bo2 says starting a website in a different language for a different country, are Google's algorithms and rules different? Are the algorithms as strong as they are in English? I don't know. I haven't looked at that, but my assumption is they're probably using the same algorithm. All right. Almedi says, does the total number of words on all published content matter on ranking? Is it a criteria for ranking on Google? I don't think so. There are over 200, and I don't think just pure word count is one of them. A lot of times a longer piece of content will be higher quality, but that doesn't mean that it is automatically going to rank better. Another form of this question, Mehdi, is people say, I see my competitor, the number one person, has 2,000 words. If I write 4,000 words, will I rank higher? Maybe, but it's not because you have twice as much content. So it can indicate some things, but it's not like a direct like cause. All right. Uber driver says, I found a way to get Google AdWords to show you the monthly search volume. When you get to a page, it has all the keywords and you have to blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. Carlos, what's up from Brazil? And Rude says, you heard Amazon gives extra APIs on request. The current limit is 2 per account. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, what would be the criteria to get more APIs? Well, I don't know. You should check with Amazon. I've never looked into it. So check with Amazon. I have no clue about that at all. Quick couple announcements. So I see we have more people on, which is great. If you're new to the channel, thanks for hopping on. If you have any questions, just give us a shout in the chat there. And be sure you're subscribed. I am interested in getting more people to check out the Survive the 9 to 5 podcast. That's a podcast with my wife and I. We talk about having a corporate job and like dealing with, stuff with a job, which I don't have anymore, but I used to. So I could talk more freely. So there's about 10 episodes out there. There's a few links in the description. Do check it out, iTunes and Stitcher and Overcast. I think if you just Google it, you could find it out there as well. So Survive the 9 to 5. Do check it out. Again, would really appreciate that. Okay. Jeff says, what's my best resource for creating a lead magnet in order to capture emails? And what do I put in your initial auto responder emails? How many should we send for the first emails? Okay. So I personally use Aweber, but if you go to any email service provider, they basically all have like free training on building an email list, and you can pick whichever one you want. They're generally all about the same with the same functionality and around the same price. It's literally like it doesn't matter. So just pick some company. They have the free training you can go through, and they give the training away for free because you need their tool to do anything. Basically for lead magnets, make them short. One pagers are great. You may think, hey, I'm going to do like a video course or an ebook, but no one cracks those things open, right? You may see some examples where people are, checking them out a little bit, but basically, like people are lazy, and if it's like more than one page, they're not even going to look at it. So one pager that they could use and get a benefit in like 5 to 10 minutes is what you're aiming for. What do you put in your initial autoresponder emails? Generally, who you are, what the site is about, and what they can expect. Again, just go check out any email company and they'll tell you what to put in the first email. They give you templates, right? You can literally get a template. How many should you send for the first emails? Don't overwhelm yourself. I would say get 1 or 2 emails in your autoresponder and then maybe add 1 per week. You could pick, like, if you want to send something out once a week, every 2 weeks, or once a month, whatever you want to do. Doing it on a regular basis is a good thing though. All right. And the other thing I would mention is I'm assuming you have significant traffic on your site. I don't know what kind of site you have. A lot of times here's the reason why I'm going to give you this background. So a lot of times people have a site and maybe they get 20 visitors a day and they hear everyone saying, you need to start an email list. The money's in the list. Email this, email that. You got to start an email list. Or if you're like buying a site, like a pre-made site, a lot of times they're like, hey, we're gonna set up an autoresponder, like we'll put the email capture and all that stuff. And it's literally like, if you're not getting significant traffic, it's literally a distraction, and you should 100% spend your time elsewhere. Because if you're thinking about like starting an email list and you're only getting 20 visitors a day, even if you have a really good conversion rate, you're only going to be getting like a couple people per day on your email list. And I mean, when you do the math of like getting people to convert to your email list and actually sign up, and then to actually open your email, like you're talking about like fractions of fractions. And basically, it's a huge waste of time unless you have a lot of traffic. That said, I mean, I do have email lists for my sites with, thousands of people on them, but it's because I have enough traffic and I did things in a sequence. All right. Amir also says, thanks for answering. You're inspired from me, and now you're turning to affiliate sites from AdSense. Your second question is okay for keyword for me. And luxury watches, best something something. If you have 20 keywords and they're based on the key KGR, can you create a blog on that? Yes, you can. Ravi says, what's the best way to get traffic to your affiliate store apart from organic traffic from Google? Probably social traffic. However, I would suggest that you focus on the organic traffic. But if you are forcing me to answer, then I would say, go for social. But I don't actually recommend that. Okay. Let me get some more questions that were sent in. By the way, just a reminder for the other people that may be watching later, or if you think of questions later, just ask on any video anywhere on my channel, and I'll try and hunt it down and find it. Best Product Review says, what could be going on when we have over 400 clicks to Amazon and no orders? So there's a couple things. So potentially you have the wrong traffic on your site, people that are not interested in buying anything. So that would be the number one thing. The other is, it's kind of a small amount of data. I would assume, right, if you had 400 clicks to Amazon, that you would maybe make 4 sales. That's it. So overall, it's like a very, I have to cough here in a second. And I'm back. Basically, Product Reviews does not have enough data there, and it's a small sample set, and you need more traffic. But you could be getting the wrong kind of traffic to your site, people that don't actually want to buy anything. Oh, Jared is on. What's up? Almedi says, you keep hearing on the internet people saying I published hundreds of thousands of words, and you hear some says if you publish thousands, you increase your chances of ranking up. I mean, if it's high quality, so you're asking two different things, man. Like, if you think you could just publish a bunch of content, I'm not suggesting that you are, but like, it's two different things. So Are you publishing a whole lot of content that's high quality based on good keyword research and you have links going to your site? Well, that's going to work. Yeah. You put like thousands of more words on your site and like you're doing things right. That's a good thing. If you're just putting more content out there, that's not necessarily going to help. So it's like comparing apples to like a giraffe or something like that. O2 says, how many KGR posts does it take to come out of the Google sandbox? Have I seen any patterns on that? No. I think it depends on how you define the Google sandbox. In my opinion, you can't really like get out of the sandbox just by publishing KGR post. Can you get traffic and rank well for low competition keywords? Yeah, but it depends on how you like define the Google sandbox. So if you want to get out of the sandbox, I think you have to invest a lot in content and in outreach and link building and probably in getting social traffic as well. Going back to some of the questions that were sent in, Bernardas asks, what kind of videos are you adding to product reviews? I used to add short review type or unboxing videos from YouTube, but now they are full of affiliate links in the descriptions, which can probably, quote, steal the clicks. So I put whatever video seems relevant. And here is the thing. Like, if someone watches a video on your site, they're probably not going to click over to click over to YouTube and then subsequently click over to Amazon. People are lazy. They're probably going to do the shortest thing. I don't have any data on this, but I'm pretty sure like if people are watching the video at all, they're not going to YouTube. And if they are going to YouTube, it means they're like a YouTube viewer, like many of you folks, and they're already on YouTube and they would probably search there first anyway. Hence, they would never end up on your site. So I wouldn't worry about it. And I would just put videos up there and not worry about like anyone stealing your clicks. Next, Ravi says, in Google search settings, I changed the settings for USA. I would like to our searches shown as per settings as I target US people, because if the searches gets wrong, my keywords will not rank. Can you rephrase that? I think I got lost in the nuance of the question. Okay, Hiking Gear Lab clarifies and said, I thought coworker means for posting your article on your site. How you have hired SEOs for posting your articles and publishing. Okay. Ionut, what's up? Good to have you on, buddy. Appreciate it. So, all right, Hiking Gear Lab. I'm going to rephrase your question to something better. I think I understand what you're trying to ask, but I think I would use many different words and descriptors for it. So I think you're asking how I hire assistants to publish content on my site. So I'll tell you the reasons why I don't like your question. So a coworker would indicate that I am a worker and that they are my peer. And I'm a dictator here on my in the stuff that I'm working on now. So I hire people to help me out as my assistant. And I definitely want feedback from them. And I think I'm a reasonable manager and I try and get ideas and I don't think I know everything and all that stuff. However, I am making the decisions. So we are not coworkers. Also, I try not to ever hire SEOs because I don't know what they think is right. And a lot of times the knowledge from quote SEOs may be different from what I want to do. So I don't want them to have preconceived notions. And I've actually heard from a couple people who have agencies and they wanted to hire people that didn't have any SEO background because of the baggage that can come with it. So, so overall, my answer is I have like 3 or 4 videos on this and like probably a few thousand words on the blog. So I think I published something just the other day on the blog, how to hire writers and all that stuff. So I don't have the link handy, but if you go to Niche Site Project and search for hiring writers, I think there's even a section in the FAQ area where I talk about hiring people. So in short, there's a video coming out soon. I just recorded it the other day talking about this a little bit more in depth. So in general, I hire people from Upwork. I try and find new people that are just starting on Upwork, and then I have them write the articles, and I usually have an editor who edits and then drafts the article in WordPress. But they're not my coworkers. Oh, Bill says you've listened to most of Survive the 9 to 5 and you're still doing the Alpharetta commute. Oh man, that's rough. That's rough. Well, appreciate you checking it out, Bill. And if you have any feedback or an episode that you particularly liked, or if you have any requests, that'd be cool too. Just let me know. Okay, Marcus says your best freelance writer just got promoted at her job and she has no time to write. So it's back to recruiting. It took you like 10 hires to find someone like that. Yep, that's exactly right. And I was talking to the person that I was auditing yesterday. And I was like, I had a great VA who was super fast. She could write, she could do outreach. I trained her on everything aside from the writing. But basically, he was like, oh, you were so lucky that you found her. And I was like, yeah, I was lucky. You know, I had to go through like 50 people to find her. And he was like, oh, I guess it wasn't luck then. It was really just, it was just going through it and finding people. All right. Jared says you like Aweber. MailChimp always sends the promotions tab for Gmail. And I think for Aweber, for me, my stuff, I think usually ends up in the promotions tab and all that. Kathy, what's up? Do I have an opinion on using an expired domain to start a new site? I don't recommend it generally, unless it's okay if it doesn't work out for you. Instead of an expired domain, I would encourage you to find an existing domain, buy someone's blog that isn't monetized well, they want to get rid of it or something like that. But I think an expired domain may have issues if it's been dropped for like a few years or whatever. There was a time where like you could skip the sandbox and like get traction like way faster. But I think Google may be more sophisticated with like expired domains and when they drop. Gaz says that you like Keywords Anywhere and integrates with Answer the Public. Yep. Cool. Yeah, I like that too. Oh, and Kathy says you like that I mute the mic. That's funny. Yeah. So the thing is, back in the corporate job, and if you want to hear more about the corporate job, you can check out Survive the 9 to 5. There's a link in the description. Basically, it was like I was on conference calls often, and like I was, or on like presentations or status calls or something like that. So I would just, you got to stay on mute most of the time. Is what you want to do. So I'm pretty good with a mute button. Don't want to cough in anyone's ear. All right. Okay. And Hiking Gear Lab says you are talking about content managers hiring process. Yeah. So there's, check out Furhan. Thanks for publishing that post on hiring writers. Yeah. There's a ton of stuff. You just got to go do it. Ravi says, you mean the searches are shown by Google as per your settings or per your country? I don't know. No clue. But that should be simple enough to check, right? Just check with one and check with the other. Use a couple tools and see what it tells you, and then you'll know. Ravi says, is it okay to embed a YouTube review of other people along with your own text review on your site? Yes, it is. As long as it's embeddable, then it's good to go. All right, this is another question that was left in a comment. Don't forget, you can leave comments. I love to get comments on the videos. Apparently, they tell me that helps things. NeoBandit says, I've watched a lot of your videos and I learned a lot. I found a niche where the KGR would be great along with keywords where there are many hundreds of searches. Mostly YouTube videos come in search and the content is written really badly. But to monetize, I would have to use a ClickBank product, which I think, if done correctly, would bring in lots of money. My question is, can I use what you teach on ClickBank products, and will it work with those products? The niche is so poorly covered, the content's bad, and it's $1 billion niche. What do you think? Will it work with ClickBank? So a very long question there with a very short answer, and it's yes, it should work. I think there may be something that we're missing here, but in general, it will work for anything. It'll work for anything. I've had a lot of like local business types, local SEO, let me know that they are ranking for KGR type terms for like local SEO. So yeah, it works for anything. Next, first video says very good info. Does the KGR? Oh, sorry. Does this KGR? Does this KGR is for Amazon affiliate website only, or we can use it for Google AdSense content website too? Please reply. Okay, I think I put those together on purpose. Yeah, you could do anything you want anywhere. So yeah. And back to the chat here. What else do we have going on? Rajesh says, when using different countries' Amazon associate program together, does one have to make 3 sales in each of the associate account to qualify for the respective program? I am not sure. I don't remember. But what you can do is just go ask the respective associate account and just see what they say. It's literally published on the site. So all you have to do is look. All right. Zainil says, I have one specific question. What's the usual conversion rate on an Amazon affiliate site? If you're getting 1,000 visitors today, how many sales and how many clicks should I expect? I'm okay if you give different percentages for different niches, but you're looking for actual numbers so you can compare it. Well, that's funny that you think I have all this data. I do not. I don't have that data. I'll give you a range. So if you're going for more general type like traffic, your conversion rate may be like 4%, 4 or 5%. If you're using the keyword golden ratio and you're getting like very specific traffic, your conversion rate could be in the double digits. Mine for the past few years has been like 11 to 13%, something like that. So generally, if you're getting, I mean, you could be getting like just more traffic. And if you are, then a lot of times you'll end up with like a lower conversion rate. Or if it's like a very expensive product, the conversion rate can be lower as well. So if it's like, I don't know, like premium laptops or some like gaming laptops or something, people may be investigating that for a pretty long time. And where are we at? So Richard says, at what time frame do you leave the site for the income to come passively? Richard, there's no, like, when things are stable and you're happy with it. But you know, that's up to you. There's no time frame. There's no prescription for that. Chris Ray says you're late. Hi, that's all right. Oh yeah, Nude says I have the patience of a saint. Some of the questions. Yeah, that's okay. You know, there's a lot of new people here, and this is what I signed up for. But I do every now and then I get some comments. Get some comments that I don't know. They're pretty funny. I have to do a little bit better with them because there was a stretch where I was only getting like a handful of comments, and generally, like, you know, people weren't super rude, but occasionally they are. And as your channel grows, as more people follow you, I think it's just a percentage of people on the internet are jerks. All right. It's like 40, 50, maybe 80%. I'm not sure. But they just act like children or something. So I get a few of those comments, and I should just hide them. But occasionally I engage. It's kind of fun in some way, but yeah, I should just delete them. All right. Commit says, I started a niche site less than 2 months ago. You made your first 2 sales in the last couple of days. Nice. You haven't done any marketing, so you're not even sure what you're doing right. Nice. Congrats. It's awesome to get the sales there. Arif says, what do I say about anchor text for backlinks? Go to nichesiteproject.com/anchor -text, I think. I literally made some updates in the last couple days on that post. It probably can use a little bit more work, but generally, you want to have a little bit of exact match anchor text, but not too much, and a lot of other anchor text. Nude says your conversion rate ranges from 3 to 8%, but you're using other affiliate networks, not Amazon. Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, that's what I would expect from other companies potentially. Other affiliate programs often have a higher commission percentage, and a lot of times, like, people don't buy as much stuff on Amazon. Richard says, is there another way to reach out to high DA sites? You tried to subscribe to their email list, and all they do is bombard you with lots of marketing letters and ignore your proposal. Richard, yeah, I would say you should probably spend more. You have to personally reach out to people and do something helpful for them. So, for example, obviously this is not something that you'd be able to just emulate quickly, but if you check out, so I mentioned this before, I'll paste the link here since we have a handful of people on. So I'm doing a free presentation with SEMrush, and I end up with some backlinks from SEMrush doing this, which is cool. I think they're pretty authoritative as it comes. And people reached out to me, right? So we were corresponding. I'm an affiliate for them. I've made some videos with them or about the tool. So I had my foot in the door, and it was a very long-term relationship, right? So it's not just something where I signed up for their email list and I was like, hey, do you want to work together? I have nothing, and you have all this stuff that could help me. They're probably just going to tell me to take a hike. In fact, sometimes I don't have a huge following generally, but there are some people that follow me, which is good. All you find people here. But when occasionally I'll get an email and it's someone's just starting and they're like, hey, I want to do a guest post for your site, and I'll write for you, blah, blah, blah. I have no clue who they are. I know they don't sign up for the email list. They've never followed me before, and they're literally just asking me for something. That's just a red flag. And basically I'll probably never work with them because they're pushy and they're asking for something, and they have no opinion or no concept of how rude they are. So I'm not saying you're doing that, Richard. Basically, you got to put your time in. And if you haven't signed up, folks, for the webinar on Monday, there will be a replay. I'm told it'll be published on the SEMrush channel, so do sign up for it. Yeah, so do sign up for it. I would appreciate it. Oh, Bob's on. I haven't seen you around in a while. Good to see you. Okay, so Wahab says, how many words should there be in an article for better ranking? Check out the FAQ section, link in the description. I would say if you're just asking for one number, I'll just say 1,500 words. Unless it needs to be longer or unless it needs to be shorter. Wrestling Empire's on. What's up? Nude said SEMrush is great. Some months you don't use it, but you still pay $99 a month just in case. Oh, R7 Eagle Bob says, you saw Amazon is adding expert reviews on their products. You think they're paying for these and they are fairly detailed. It's like they're having internal blogs. Yep, I've seen those over the last few months too. I'm not sure how much traction they're getting. I should probably like investigate it a little bit farther, but yeah, I have seen some of those out there as well. All right, let's see. I think one last question here. Okay, this is sort of interesting. I always have a hard time pronouncing his name. I'll just call him Panog. Panog says, can I use SEO software or will Google put a penalty on my site? All right, so that's the question. And then let's hear the second part of it. You have a program that compares top 10 Google results with your site's text and tells you what to do manually on the text to get ranked on the top page like the other 10 do. So the answer is a couple things. So the initial question is, can I use SEO software or can I get penalized? The answer is if you use like link building or like software that somehow violates the webmaster guidelines, then yes, you could potentially have a penalty. However, the software that you described shouldn't be an issue. You're literally like analyzing data from other sites and then making changes on your site. So I don't think that software will have an issue with Google at all, or Google won't have an issue with that software rather. But if you have software that you're like automatically like automating link building, blog comments, if you're building like free blog Web 2.0 properties in an automated fashion and building tons of links, that is going to be an issue. All right. So if you're just analyzing content and doing on-page SEO, that is not going to be a problem. All right. Cool. What other questions do we have here? And I'll mention, let's see some other stuff we got going on here. Don't forget, there is the productivity course. So again, if you're looking to like get a lot of stuff done at the beginning of the year, it's a way to help you set goals, help set up systems so you actually accomplish your goals. And now's the time to get it, right? So if you wait until the new year, you're already behind. So I usually start up this sort of like end of year stuff like at the middle of November or something like that. It takes me a while to think about what you're going to do, what I'm going to do personally. So let's see, what else do we have going on? So I am starting to plan for like more videos that I'm going to do. And it's interesting. I was doing some analysis, part of like planning for next year. I was doing some analysis on like traffic to niche site project, the email list, the conversion rate on my email list and that sort of thing. And I've spent obviously a lot of time on YouTube. It's been really fun in general. I've learned a lot. In some ways, I feel like, is this just like a content machine that will like chew me up? And what do I want to do with it? It's very, I see I missed a question here, so I'll hop back to that. It's very interesting because like if I publish more content, I get more views and more subscribers and stuff like that. And the way it's played out is interesting because while YouTube is a good source of traffic, it's a great way to help people like we're doing right now. However, it's a lot of work for very little like direct, I guess like positive results. So there are some positive results, but not as positive as other areas. Like for example, like writing content and or like putting out different content. So I've teased this probably for a year or more, is an affiliate marketing podcast, or at least actually I'll probably talk about more stuff than that. So I may generalize it a bit, but that is probably coming up in the new year with Survive the 9 to 5. It's more corporate oriented and that sort of thing. However, I've learned the mechanics and the stuff you have to do to run a podcast, and it doesn't seem too bad. In fact, probably what will happen is some sessions like these, I'll probably record the audio and put it out as a podcast, as part of like an affiliate marketing podcast or whatever I cover. I may just call it myself, and then I could talk about whatever I want and vary topics without like feeling like I'm roped in, which is more interesting. It has like more longevity. At some point, as some people may observe, once you talk about the same thing for so many hours ad nauseum, sometimes it's good to have a break and like venture off and talk about other stuff. Like Commit asks about, do I have any Google Analytics and Tag Manager essential tips to better understand your affiliate traffic metrics? Generally, no. I don't do much with the tag. I don't do anything with the Tag Manager, to be honest with you. For Google Analytics, I do dive into some of the default areas. There's a lot of options. Google Analytics is super powerful, and it's almost intimidating if you are like brand new to it. The main areas I look at, traffic, of course. I pay attention to what pages are doing well, and then trends. I really like to look at how I'm ranking, for example, over time, and or at least you can't tell the rankings, but you can see the organic traffic and then the growth over time. So that's one thing I was checking out with Niche Site Project specifically, and I guess I could actually share some data from that. But I was like, hey, I published more content, and I could see organic traffic is up. And further, the conversion rate is up when I look at like 2018 over 2017. And like, that's all important to see to understand trends for the future, right? So as far as the Tag Manager stuff, I know that you can like set things up to see like where people are clicking and or what links they're clicking and that sort of thing. Okay. Some more questions popped in here. And thanks everyone who has listened to Survive the 9 to 5. I appreciate it. Yeah. All right. Wrestling Empire says, what do you do if your Amazon Associates account gets banned because of no sales? Should you replace all the links with new links that you would create with the new account? Okay. And I don't think you would be banned. You just wouldn't be accepted into the program. So banned would indicate you can't join again. So basically, if you don't make the sales, you should wait until you start getting traffic to your site. I would say like 10 to 15 visitors per day before you apply again. So you don't have to like go through the process over and over again. And then, yes, you would replace the links on your site. Of course, with your new tracking ID, you can just do a a search and replace on your database, which can screw up your site if you make a mistake. But if you don't, then literally it's a search and replace, and you could do it in like 15 seconds. Arvin says, if you had a website with articles but had to switch to another website, can you copy your articles over, or would there be a penalty? The original website would no longer exist. You can move it over. You should let Google know via the Search Console that you move to a new website, and then you can redirect it and then say the other website doesn't exist. There's a whole process. The Google documentation is like pretty thorough on that. Okay, Wahab we're starting to get to the repeated question, which is always a bad sign. All right. So Wahab says, is it okay if we use an expired domain for your affiliate site? The answer is yes. It is okay to do that. Will it affect your ranking in the search engine? Maybe, but there's no guarantee. And my real answer, so yes, you can do that. But if you're asking the question, I don't recommend that you do that. I would recommend that you get an existing site that has not yet expired. And Nude, yeah, thanks for listening to the podcast. And other people download it. I'll be really interested because I could check the stats to see the downloads. Be really interested to see there are more downloads because I talked about it today. And I'll be taking some time off over the holidays here. I've been actually taking it really easy. Okay, Bob's out of here. Thanks for hopping in. See you around, of course. So taking some time off around the holidays here. But I think I may do some live streams and maybe more vloggy kind of stuff. We'll see how it goes. But in those cases, I may just keep telling people, hey, well, you know, check out the podcast, blah, blah, blah. So just trying to, now that, like I said, now that we have like a handful under our belt, I think they've gotten a little bit better. In a lot of podcasts, people start out with like episode 1 and it's a little bit of a biography. It's like purely self-indulgent. Like people are just talking about themselves and why they're starting the podcast. I was like, you know what? Let's try to give people good information in the first few, and then we'll do our bios and all that stuff later. So in that case, the first few episodes are like how to get promoted at your job, performance reviews. I can't remember some of the others. But basically we held off to do the bios until like episode 5 or something. It's funny. I had lunch with a friend of mine last week, and he actually podcasted from like long time ago. So I think he started his podcast in like 2007 or something like that. It was like independent music, and he did it for like I don't know, 8 or 9 years or something like that, and then eventually like stopped. It sort of ran its course, but he was checking it out and he was like, oh, you know what? I listened to your bio episode because, you know, it's funny. I didn't know some of the stuff, some of the experience and stuff like that. So, all right. Oh, we have Mustafa. Mustafa, what's up? Good to have you on. You may remember if you are an Uber fan here, you may remember a couple weeks ago, I called him Mufasa. He sent me an email and I was like, Mufasa asked something. And Mufasa, of course, is the famous lion from the movie. All right. So Ravi says, why don't I come live more often? So I do once a week. There was a stretch where I was doing twice a week. I would hop on Wednesdays and I would hop on Fridays. And I think, I literally got tired of it because here's one thing that would happen. I'd come on Wednesdays to talk about a topic, and then it would turn into people asking the same questions over and over again. And eventually I was like, this is not fun for me to do, so I'm not going to do it. However, if I sort of flip it over, and I mean, we talk about marketing a bunch here, which is cool, but I obviously have a lot of other interests. And one of my thoughts, Ravi, which I don't know if you're into this, but you let me know here, but I was like, all right, if I do a podcast, I want to have like freedom. I want to interview. I probably will do 50% interviews. And I was making I have a decent number of contacts out there these days. People that would talk to me, and it would be great to have like a lot of experts from like tools and people that teach stuff, and just folks that I want to chat with and catch up with that are helpful for other people. So that's great, of course. But I was also like, you know, it'd be great to do a live stream and sit down and have a beer with one of my friends and just talk about, I don't know whatever we want to talk about. Right. So I think that could be fun, and I can go live. However, just answering questions, it does become tedious. Hence, the FAQ section on my site becomes tedious, and it's like the same ones over and over again. Okay, Anna says, "What's up? Haven't seen you on here in a while." You say, "How much do I pay an editor?" 10 to 20 bucks an hour. How can you give them the task of placing Amazon affiliate links? Do I give them access to my account? No, I don't give them access. There's a format you can use. It's pretty like widely known. I think I may even have it in the FAQ section. I can't remember, but it's like a format. Like you just put in the ASIN and that's it, and your tracking ID. It's like just a simple format. Wrestling says some of your articles are getting indexed, and when you check them, they're not indexed anymore. Some articles are indexed, and then it happens again, and only 3 pages are indexed. Okay. I remember Wrestling Empire. Your site's young. This is typical. It's called the Google Dance. There's some other stuff with the Google Dance, but you're hopping in and out, dancing, little dancing. And basically you just need to be patient, keep publishing content, and stop checking every day. It's just going to drive you crazy. Oh, we got my man Jonathan here. He says, you got your first 6 sales this week after 4 months. Pretty sweet. Not a lot of return, but you're glad it's working. Yeah, right. I know what you mean. It's like I spent $1,000 and 200 hours working on things, and I made like $8. But don't worry, it should improve. And Jonathan, shoot me an email. Would love to hear more details on that. Robbie says, great idea. Do it. Yeah. So in the next couple weeks, when I'm taking some time off, perhaps I will just turn on my phone, do a quick live stream and chat, and maybe just like not pay as much. See, it's like a lot of interaction. And I have I even have this little I have a Gorilla Pod here and a little like phone holder. So I do have like the mechanism and stuff to do these things, and just set it up here. Oh, it was really nice today. Can you guys see that picture? Georgie and I were walking out there. Is that clear? It's really close. Wow, that actually looks pretty damn good. Yeah, so we're just out walking this morning, and then the mountains back there just looked amazing. And I took a little portrait of her there. Let's see. So this is what the chats turn into sometimes. Now I'm just showing pictures on my phone. But let's see what happens. Hold on. I think hold on. Let's see. We got something good here. Maybe not. Oh, this one's kind of cool. I'll just show you one more here. So we were out walking, and I was like, man, that is a big bird flying overhead. Let's see if we can get this is not going to work well. All right. That is a bald eagle right there flying over. That is out of focus. Yeah, there you go. You can see that bald eagle right there. Yeah, so it just flew over, and it was great. Really cool. Okay. Any more questions here? William says, when will we get more niche site success stories? You missed them very much. That's a good question. So I was actually going to reach out to some of my students to see what's up. I do want to do updates with people. So people like Evan, Duke, Ellen, Jaron, Wesley, like some of those folks from like last year. A lot of people, it's very interesting. They want to wait. They're like, I'm doing a lot of stuff right now. I don't want to give you an update until like the first of the year. Of course, everyone's busy around this time, but basically you kind of just need to, they want to wait. So I'm patient as well. And every now and then, like, for example, we heard from Jonathan. There was another person earlier who was like, hey, I made my first couple sales. So I'm like kind of in touch with folks and try and hear more stories. There are a lot of people who just shoot me an email and they're like, hey, like I'm making $80 a month now. And it's all like KGR content. And I haven't pushed to like interview folks or anything like that. But yeah, I think the success stories are cool, especially like most people are like on the edge of getting started or like at the beginning and they haven't gotten traction yet. So William, totally understand, like, hearing someone is like, hey, I'm making a little bit, this works, like keep pushing. Wrestling Empire says, how much time will it take for Google to index all your articles permanently? I would say like 4 to 6 months. I've seen and heard from people up to the sandbox period for 6 months, and they're like, some of my pages are not indexed anymore. I don't know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Arif says 10 to 12 days, but I've seen it go up and down. So basically, just keep publishing more content. If you get backlinks and you get traffic, your site will probably be indexed and you won't have to worry about it. So publish more, get backlinks, like keep working and moving forward, and then you should be good to go. Guy says, you'd welcome any content on finding a niche. It's always difficult. Sure. Potentially, yeah, maybe I could look at that and look at some other ideas. Oh, you know what? I thought of one the other day that would be kind of interesting to shoot. And that's the thing. Like, I kind of enjoy shooting the videos. I have like the gear. I love the gear, I think some people may have seen this more recently, but I got a new lens. It's a Sigma 18 to 35 f1.8, and that 1.8 is so key. So if you check out some, I think there's a video coming out Monday that I shot on this new one. I've played with it a little bit, but with the f1.8, it really throws the background out of focus. And it looks really awesome, like really awesome lens. It's very heavy. That's the thing. It's very heavy. And I got the mic here. A lot of people have been asked, I need to like redo the videos on my gear and like do a proper job. But the mic that I use here, it's a Lens Hopper, Shure Lens Hopper VP83. Like just takes a AA battery. Really, really improved the sound quality. Like I shot a couple little videos the other day and I was just holding the camera and I forgot to put the mic on and it sounded terrible. It was really, really bad. And I was like, I'm just going to have to shoot it again and put the mic on. So, and I was in this room. It's pretty quiet. There's carpet, there's curtains. Like there's not a lot of like echo in here in general. Like it sounds pretty good right now on this mic, right? But without the actual lens hopper, it ended up sounding like I was like screaming down like a paper towel roll into it or something. Really terrible. So I got that baby, and then a Canon T7i. So it would be fun to shoot more. However, like the idea for coming up with like niches and other ideas and stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm like, is it better if I write content, write a tutorial? And actually, since I see a couple questions were coming up, I'll let a couple more pop through here. So I had an idea to write sort of an analysis of like really like big bloggers who have like do guest posts and like the best practices within those guest posts, and just show like, hey, like guest posting is a good thing to do. Like you could effectively do it. So is that like what questions would you have? I have a few like big bloggers that I'm like, hey, I've seen these great guest posts. Just curious, like what questions would you have if I actually covered and did an analysis on those ideas? Okay. Commit says you'd like to expand your affiliate store into drop shipping at some point, but don't want to risk damaging its reputation. Should I use a separate site instead? And Wrestling Empire says you should definitely build a separate site. I disagree. I think you should use the same site and just make sure you get high quality products. Like that's a simple one, right? Like don't sell crappy stuff. But the real thing is here, don't put the cart before the horse, right? Like until your site is like successful and you're getting consistent traffic, like don't worry about layering on another business. All right. In Wrestling Empire, I mean, with all due respect, you're saying you should definitely build a separate site, but Wrestling Empire, you're asking like how like your site is indexed. So I have to venture that you have not done this successfully, right? And in that case, this is where you have to watch out on the internet. You may be getting advice from someone who hasn't done the thing that you're asking about. So, I mean, Wrestling Empire, your opinion is 100% valid. However, you know, in general, I would say, why would you have to build a whole separate deal? You could just use your existing branding. Yeah. Okay. Nude says you use click funnels to drive traffic from your list, and it's lucrative. If you create a store, how are you going to drive traffic and sales? Okay. Nico says, I have a Gutenberg question. You have the classic editor plugin active. If you go ahead and update to 5.0.1, shall you see any change on your site? I don't think you will. To my knowledge, 5.0.1 is a security update primarily. So I don't suspect you'll see any major change. All right. Any other questions out there? Just going to finish up my tea here. So folks, be sure you sign up for the SEMrush. It'd be great to have quite a few people on there. I have no clue how many folks are going to be on, but I hope that I'll be able to bring a lot of the audience and people that, you know, watch these videos and stuff to it, to have a good showing, and have more people than other webinar hosts. That's really what I want. So we'll see how it goes. And I think, you know, once I share it out a little bit more, there'll be views. Jamie says, what is the cost for SEMrush? I think it's you know what? I won't mention it because I'm not 100% sure. It's kind of expensive, but you can get a free trial and check it out. I think it's like 7 days or something like that. But the training that I'm talking about is a free training. It's on Monday, Jamie. So you just check it out. Arif says, I feel you should make videos where you choose a topic and you ask questions. It'll be a good discussion type video, narrow down just a suggestion. Okay. I think, and are you saying live videos, Arif? Or a video topic? Oh, and Furhan says you set a reminder for the SEMrush webinar. Thank you for that. Tell your friends, post it in Facebook groups or whatever. All right. So, and while I'm waiting for Arif to answer here, there was a stretch where I was doing the live streams and I did pick a topic. I literally did exactly what you're talking about. And basically people would come on and I would be talking about, let's say I'm talking about guest posting, and they would like ask keyword research questions. They'd just pop in, interrupt whatever I was doing. And then like, I'm doing this myself, right? So I don't have anyone in the chat, like logging questions or anything. And basically I tried to do it, and it ended up being like a mess. And like I said, it was basically not fun. And I was like, I'm not going to do it anymore because I can do whatever I want. But I started to tighten it down, and I was like, hey, we're getting started here. And then I would launch into my 5 to 10 minute thing that I wanted to talk about. And then I would like stay around to like answer a few questions. And then it always degraded into just like a free for all. So I try to keep it tighter, but yeah. Yep. Furhan, like you've been around the block, you know, you're a fine moderator here. But yeah, even the short hello videos turn into Q&A sessions. There's very little, like, even if I say, well, I can't blame people either. So I'll hop on and say, hey, I'm just going to do like X, Y, and Z. And then people are like, hey, I want to ask you a question, blah, blah, blah. And that's why we just have these where I dedicate time and it's meandering. It's totally cool here. But yeah, it was just unfocused. Now, a reef, it doesn't mean I can't focus it. So for example, right, here's how I see this going to reef. I could do a live stream. I have a topic that I'm going to talk about, and I could record the audio and then publish it as a podcast. And then I've seen a few people do this where they're recording in multiple places. Obviously, I could pull the audio from this if I wanted to, but they're recording in multiple places. And when they start their presentation, their main focus is to focus on the audio for the podcast. So they're not referencing anything on the screen. If there's any questions, they like read it out, and like questions are held till the end when the podcast content is finished, and then they'll hop back over to the live stream. So that is what it would work. All right. Jamie says you used a 7-day trial months ago. You don't remember much, but Google is getting annoying. You find you don't get much info. Does SEMrush provide much more? Yes. So SEMrush, SEMrush gives you, I think they really excel in letting you know where or what your site is ranking for and your competitors. So from a keyword research perspective, it really does well. Their backlink database isn't as strong as like Ahrefs or Majestic, but from like a keyword standpoint and getting an understanding on like what's going on with your site, super powerful. I love it. Gaz says, have I thought about developing a quote group website that we could follow your work on? No, tell me more about that. But generally, it sounds like a bunch of work for me and nothing. Nothing, right? It sounds like a bunch of work that I would do for nothing. And that doesn't sound like a good idea. Arif says, I can use moderators. There's so much info in the previous videos. You know, a few people who usually charge for it. Yep. Yeah, I'm doing so much more than even paid. Actually, there are people in other paid courses that come to these sessions because these are more helpful than the support that they get from the paid courses that they're in. And yeah, there's a small possibility if I do the thing that I'm talking about, that I would have a producer who would moderate the chat for me, log the questions so that I can ignore the chat. And actually that is exactly what's going to happen on Monday in the SEMrush presentation. SEMrush, Ilya, my buddy Ilya over at SEMrush, is going to moderate the chat, log the question, so I don't have to pay attention to that at all. So I can just stare at the camera and do the presentation. Yeah. So Furhan says, I think people need to learn how to search on Doug's channel. The content is there and free. Yeah. In fact, once once I can't remember where I put, oh, you know what? It's on the FAQ page, right? If you go to the FAQ page and scroll down, I give you like a hierarchy on places to find answers. If you ask a question that you can look up on your own, you've wasted your question, basically. Sometimes you want opinions, or you're like, I've investigated this and I found blah, 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 and I want to follow up and see what you think. And you ask better questions if you investigate. One of the things that I describe is you go to the YouTube channel, there's a search bar. You literally can like type in your question. There'll probably be like 3 videos that pop up. So pretty solid. Okay, Thomas says, at what point do you target higher volume keywords outside of the keywords that fit the KGR? Generally immediately, right away. Nude says, I use SEMrush for competition research and keyword research. Yep. Okay, Nude says he is referring to, Gaz is referring to something like Spencer Hawes with niche site project or possibly a case study. So I actually got a request for that. About once a week, I get a request like, hey, why don't you do a public case study so we could see what you're doing? Generally, I may actually do it. All right. Um, because people love to follow that kind of stuff. And I know when a lot of sites have gotten a lot of traction and a lot of attention, it is because they've done like some public case study or something like that. Now, the flaw with a public case study is typically they end up with negative SEO, with copycats, and it ends up being just a really messy process. And I think Spencer at Niche Pursuits, I think he has been keeping the site private for a little while until he gets it established. And then I think he shares it at some point and does like an unveiling. So that could be interesting. I know a lot of people are into like the case studies, and it was super interesting for me when I got started as well. So I could appreciate it, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I'm going to spend time on it. I don't want it to just be like a piece of garbage that a bunch of people are going to, mistreat, copy, and then hit it with negative SEO. One of the recommendations I got from people, they were like, well, if it's going to get hit with negative SEO, that's part of the reality. So you should do that and then overcome it. And yeah, maybe so. But like most people, generally, you don't have to deal with negative SEO. But if you have an internet marketing blog, then you do. So anyway, there's some risk on that, but it's something I may look into because it would provide a ton of content just in general. But and across the board, right? You'll probably notice I'm writing an article, right? I publish something on Niche Site Project, then I do a video. Then I could do a podcast, like repurpose it to different areas. All right, Mustafa says you have to go. All right, see ya. Take it easy. Okay, I think we're all good. Just a final call. I think if people have any more questions, you could ask now and then hit the thumbs up. I'll do a final call if I answered your question. Jamie says, is making a YouTube channel for your niche site a good idea? Generally, I would say maybe. You can if you could enjoy yourself and you want to make YouTube videos, then yeah, it would be fantastic. If it's going to be like a distraction, then don't do it. But if you like it, then yeah, it could be a really good thing for you to work on. All right, I think we made it to the end here. Thanks everyone, and we have just a handful of the thumbs up. Yeah, you know what? That bores me to ask for that. Okay. I'm out of here. Everybody have a good weekend, and we'll catch you on the next one.